They
Yes.
mastered seduction and sexuality. But just look at Nicki Minaj in that last interview with Joe Button when she was talking about I don't know who she was talking about men in general, and she kept saying eat a, I don't want to mess up the algorithm, mess up your channel. She was saying eat a penis, eat a penis. You she said every cuss word under the book. Like she no, that's not a woman that's mastered femininity, but she's mastered some level of sexuality, sexiness, and just seduction. She's mastered that, but I'm not gonna say she's feminine. If you're talking like that, you're not feminine. You're not.
Mm.
You just look good. You got curves. You got nice lady lumps. I want to hit that. That don't mean that she's a feminine woman. That's where I'm at with it.
That's tough. Okay. I,
So
I,
a
I,
woman
I
has to be feminine all the time in order for you to consider her a feminine woman. Like she's always got to be resting in femininity.
I don't know what resting in femininity means, but
It means just she's just feminine. I don't know, feminine,
I
whatever
yeah.
you consider to be feminine, whatever your idea is, because there was a definition, but I guess we have our own perception of what we consider feminine, even though there was a definition that was
I
displayed.
think if you fastly quickly default into the way that she was talking in the example that I gave, I don't think
That
you're
was Nicki.
feminine.
That was Nicki Minaj. You said.
Yes, yes. If that's just a second nature default, I mean, I can say a woman is feminine if, like, let's just say something bad happened and she really just erupts.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
I'm not going to say she ain't, I caught her, I busted her, she not feminine.
Right.
Or her she just saw one of her kids get ran hit by a car and she cussed the person out who did it.
Right.
I'm not going to take her femininity away. But if you just walking and just doing that like the wind blow, then nah, you masculine.
It's some things that seem more natural than others, is what you're saying. There's a.
Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
okay. So let me ask you this, because I'm going to skip forward because you guys are actually treading on our other topic of conditional femininity.
Right. I didn't want to talk about it too much because I was like, we'll talk about it
Yeah.
later.
So let's talk about this. Tawana, is there such thing as conditional femininity?
I mean, it's called energy fluid. It's not actually called conditional femininity. That's exactly what it is. And what happens is, I mean, and most people, most women, especially modern women, right? Like we've learned to probably to use our masculine energy, especially in the workplace, especially in certain environments. Like we have to use our masculine energy, and it's just required. Like you can't be in certain spaces and not embrace it. So I just feel like women who have masculine energy is because the times and where we've shifted to and how we have to be, right? A woman is going to have both. So I think that women learn how to master and when it's appropriate. Like for instance, in certain spaces, especially in this space, I don't feel protected as a woman. Like I don't feel safe being like vulnerable with men in these spaces, right? So I will never be completely open and vulnerable like I will be with my husband or my family or my friends. Like I will never do that with people in these space. So regardless of how you view me in this space, you don't know how I behave toward my children, toward my family, toward my friends, right? Like you don't know me on a personal level. And so there is a such thing as being energy fluid. There is a such thing as like embracing certain energy when you're around certain spaces. So yeah, it's actually a human instinct. It's natural. It's not something that we should be shamed about. No woman is going to be feminine 100% of the time. It's just impossible. It's just not. And honestly, when a woman is like that, in this world, you can be unprotected. It could be dangerous for you to be like that. So
So
I
you're
just
saying
don't
it's
think it's
dangerous to you're dangerous is to be a woman to be 100% feminine in this
all the
world.
time. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm guessing what you're saying is that there is such thing as conditional femininity.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I
But
guess that's what y'all call it. I call it energy fluid, but you can call it conditional feminine.
okay,
I don't know.
Bernard.
I think it's different.
Yeah, like I said on the last show, I asked the question, what's your default setting? If your default setting is to be feminine, like my default setting is to be masculine, then okay, it I don't understand why the term conditional femininity was even brought up. Conditional femininity. I mean, I'm not saying I don't know why it was brought up by you, eBlack. I don't know why women are online trying to sell that as an actual thing. It's more of a it's more of them trying to justify their masculinity and trying to make some argument to try to justify it. I say if you're naturally a feminine woman, but there are certain situations, let's just say at work, you happen to have a job where you happen to have to engage in a masculine activity. Let's just say you do some you're doing it's some physical labor on your job, and so I feel like a feminine woman is going to approach that, and she's going to be like she's gonna be drained out. She's gonna be drained out the fact that she has to engage in this physical labor, or if she's in a higher up position on the job where she has authority over people and she has to tell people what to do. She has to boss people around. Like I saw that it was a woman. She was a supervisor at my job. She was a in my assessment, she was definitely a very soft spoken feminine woman, and I could tell it drained her when she had to come tell people, especially men, what to do. It drained her. She hated doing it. I would practically see her like, and then she would just go and approach people. Like she just didn't like doing it. I could tell her default setting was to be feminine, but it was another female supervisor at the job. She just walked up like Stone Cold Steve Austin. She was ready to go, and she loved to have to tell somebody what to do. She got off on it damn near. Like so, that was a woman that I looked at as no, she wasn't just conditionally being masculine right there. No, she reveled in it. She enjoyed it, and she took that home to her man if she had one. But the other example that I gave of the woman who had to really work herself up to do it, I can tell when she went home, it was now I can be me. I can relax. Her default setting was to be feminine. So that's what I asked. What is your default setting? And if your default setting is to be a feminine woman and you have to really exert yourself to engage in certain, more masculine activities, then yeah, you're doing what you have to do in the moment. But I think it's a nonsensical argument when they say, "Oh, it's hard for me to turn off what I naturally am when I get home." I'm like, "No, you just an out of pocket chick and pretty masculine and you like it." So that's where I'm at with that.
Tawana, I'll give you a 30-second response.
I mean, I don't think that a woman should be expected to behave a certain way in the workplace. And I don't think she should be judged based off of a small interaction that you have with her on how she may treat her partner. I think it's flawed to even think that type of way. In most cases, women know how to turn it on and off. In most cases, women know how to master whatever their energy is. And women who have a natural masculine energy and who identify as that are just that. They usually
I
are
agree with that part.
very comfortable with that. They understand, they've embraced it for a lot of different reasons because their sexuality may be tied to what men tend to value or what men tend to like. So I think that even when women try to define femininity, they try to use it on a scale and they try to tell women that if you don't behave this way, this percentage of the time, then you're not feminine. It's a way to kind of divide women when really biologically they also have to have some characteristics like fertility, for instance, to be considered a woman and to be considered feminine. So, like, if that's the case, then I guess that's why men think they are feminine, right? Like, I have men argue that they are feminine, more feminine than women. I mean, if you can have these arguments that Bernard have, for instance, I think that that's why we have this miscommunication about what femininity truly is and why some people can identify that way and feel that they are more feminine than women, even because some men make it clear that you can be, right? It's something you can learn or teach, or you can
Are
be that
you
way and you can behave a certain way and that you're more feminine than this person and you can look a certain way and be more feminine. I mean,
I'm lost. Are you talking about gay men?
I'm just
Go ahead, Tawana.
I'm talking about any man who identifies himself as being feminine or who feels that he has more feminine traits
It's
than masculine. then I understand why they think they're more feminine than women, because men like that, men like you, kind of give them the argument, because you basically said that you don't have to really be a woman to be feminine. I mean, you just need to behave a certain way. You just need to act a certain way. You just need to behave and have these traits and characteristics. And you will look at a woman and you will determine whether she's masculine or feminine. So I think that's why they think that. And I think
Bernard,
I'll give them the
hold on, hold on, Jordan, sorry. Bernardo, I gave her 30 seconds, but obviously she abused it. But I'll let you respond.
I don't even know what I'm responding to at this point.
From my understanding, her point was that if femininity was based on behavioral traits,
Right.
then that is why you have gay men who believe that they are more feminine than women.
That's right.
Thus, femininity is a behavioral trait that is dictated by men and cultural standards. So,
Okay, I don't care nothing about gay men and what they believe or don't believe. We was talking about
I didn't
women.
say gay men. That was what he said, but he did explain exactly what my
If
position
you're
was,
talking
besides
about,
the gay men thing.
holy crap. All right, so yeah, I do think a woman's behavior is a major determining factor in how feminine she is. I would just say that, and I'll leave that there. And everything else about a man's level of femininity, that I don't know what that has to do with the conversation, and I ain't
It
even
has a
touching
lot
that
to do
issue.
with it, because there's a
It
lot of
don't.
people who identify as feminine and they're not biological women. So you're basically giving that argument, and that's fine. So it's a just a behavior and anybody can learn it.
No, I
Cool.
didn't say
So
just a
then
behavior. I
so
said
then men and women can be
I
feminine. Cool.
I
Okay.
said a
We got it.
woman's behavior determine how feminine that woman is
So she must
compared to another woman who has less of that feminine behavior.
okay.
That's the argument. I rest my case.
all right,
I
we'll
I don't agree with
we'll leave it on that one. We'll leave it on that one. Okay.